Hey, it's Ian Cantle here from Dental Marketing Heroes, and today I'm super excited to be sharing with you something that's going to radically transform your dental practice. Today we're talking about the new SEO and Generative Engine Optimization formula. So, Search Engine Optimization formula and Generative Engine Optimization formula. What that means is AI search, how people are finding you through ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Gemini. And so this is the new SEO and GEO formula for dental practices. And it's all about accelerating patient acquisition for you and your practice in 2026 and beyond. So let's jump in. All right, we're going to start with the 9-step accelerated growth roadmap. This is all about a systematic architecture to triple your patient growth volume by optimizing your digital footprint. And it all starts with 3 columns, 3 main sections. And so first we're going to look into driving leads, maximizing conversions, and then we're going to start with driving leads. We'll then move over to maximizing conversion, because you can drive as many leads as you want, but if you're actually not converting those leads into patients, then you're not actually fulfilling your roadmap, right? You're not filling your funnel properly. Then we're going to move from maximizing conversions over to optimizing results. So in the driving leads section, we're going to cover organic. So how do you get new patients from organic search? These are things like Google and now ChatGPT, AI search platforms. And it all starts with making sure that you're showing up in the right places when people are searching for you and giving those platforms the signals that they need in order to choose you as the recommended dental practice in your area for those searches. We're going to look at paid traffic. So what can you do as a dental practice? What ads can you do in order to drive more good quality new patient traffic? We want to profitably tap into paid traffic to drive targeted dental leads. We're going to look at database reactivation. You have a gold mine in your dental practice. Unless you just started a week, a month, a year ago, you have a database that can generate appointments from your existing patients, and you need to leverage that to the maximum. And you're probably not doing that today. So we'll look at that. Then we're going to move on to maximizing conversion. We're going to look at your website. Is it actually converting visitors into patients? We're going to look at reputation. How are you showing up on Google reviews? Are you outpacing your competition? What's your Google review velocity? And how do these reviews on Google, on Bing, on other platforms actually help you on the search engines and on the AI search now? We're going to look at automation. Practice management software is really, really good at managing your practice. It's not super good at managing the automation of your marketing. And so we're going to look at that. We're going to look at how every patient inquiry can be followed up quickly within 30 seconds or less. What kind of technology can do that, and why that is so important today. Because if you don't respond, they'll just move on to the next dentist in your area. They're looking for human-to-human connection. They're looking for immediate response, and there are technologies that can help you do that. They just want to get what they want, right? Then we're going to look at optimizing results. We're going to look at your total spend. How can you get clear on how much to invest to achieve the practice growth targets that you have for your business? We're going to look at average cost per lead, so that you know exactly how much you're investing per new patient. And then finally, return on investment. We want to make sure that you're tracking your ROI, your return on investment, from your marketing and from each area of your marketing, so you know what's working, what's not, where to put more investment, where to pull back investment. All right, we're going to jump right in. All right, so the reality of patient search behavior today is, at least, because this differs by region, this differs by competitiveness, but the reality of patient search behavior today is that 71% of clicks go directly to organic and local results, entirely bypassing paid ads. So people see the ads, there is an impression made, but they go down because they trust organic results more. You're not paying for those, you had to earn those results. 67% of those get the clicks. So 71% of clicks go directly to the organic. 67% of those clicks concentrate exclusively on the first 5 listings. So you can see that there's a disproportionate amount of clicks that happen in the top 5 listings. And in fact, the top 3 is where most of those happen. So the takeaway here is if your practice isn't in those top 3 to 5 spots, you are starving your own acquisition engine and you're relinquishing good quality new patient leads to your competition. Now let's look at the anatomy of a high volume practice. So say you get 417 total monthly leads. 65% of those would come from organic SEO maps at a high volume practice. You can see that Google Maps gives you about 173, pay-per-click 127, 95 from organic calls alone, and 22 web forms. So organic SEO and maps get 65% of those actions. They are high inherent patient trust because they've looked at reviews, they've looked at where you rank, you've earned that ranking position, and they're appreciating the long-term, you are appreciating the long-term ROI from that. Because the beauty of SEO is you do have to continuously invest in it, but the investment is far smaller than it is for Google Ads or ads on Meta or TikTok or any of the other platforms. With those, if you stop paying, you stop receiving, right? There is essentially zero cost per click, although I would suggest that you have to take your total ROI, so your ongoing investment into your organic part of your marketing, you need to consider that as well. And so it's not always zero cost, but when you compare it to that for pay-per-click, you actually have to pay for every single click that comes to your website. That's where the zero click comes in, or zero cost per click. Now, on the right side, we have paid search and PPC. This has lower trust. It's marked as ads on all of the platforms, so people know that you're paying to show up in front of them. There's temporary visibility. If you stop, then, or your ads stop when your budget stops. And this is just the truth of the environment, that there's an escalating cost per click. As more and more dental practices get into paid ads, the competitive nature of it rises. It is an auction. You are basically competing against everyone else who's trying to attract the same people with the same keywords and terms and topics. And so the more competitive it gets, the more costly it gets. And again, that's why you want to make sure that you are doing advertising. Advertising is really important because you can dial it up, you can dial it down very fast, but your organic side is really what feeds the machine long term and gives you the best ROI. Now, the complexity of the Google algorithm and the complexity of SEO and showing up for search has only gotten more complex over the last 3 to 4 years. There's over 200 ranking factors alone on Google. And so you can see that there's 3 main areas. And let's look at Google first, but all of what we're saying applies in some way also to AI search. So there's a technical foundation on the far left. This includes indexing and crawling. The algorithm or the crawlers have to actually come to your website. They have to crawl your website, understand what's on there as far as content, the structure, and we'll get into some of the rest of that. It needs to be secure. So I don't know if you remember back about 6 or 7 years ago, Google started in their Chrome browser, they started putting this big red flag if you did not have an SSL security certificate and if your website wasn't HTTPS. What this did was it moved everybody in the industry over to secure websites. So this is a good thing for all of us as consumers and businesses. It makes our websites far less hackable. It means that the people coming to our website feel more secure as well. So that's a good thing. But if yours isn't, really important that you get this set up. Core Web Vitals. This is an often misunderstood area, but Core Web Vitals is a set of metrics that Google looks at, just a very simple way to check the health of websites. And the reason why Google implemented this several years ago is that, and made it quite an influential ranking factor, is that Google cares about user experience. So if your website takes a long time to load, if it's got funky ads that shift the page around so that when you go, as it's loading, when you go to click on something that you're interested in, it moves around because ads are showing up and whatnot. If it takes a long time for it to load, if there's errors on the page, there's all sorts. There's about 4 main large buckets of Core Web Vitals. And if these things aren't working properly, you will not rank very well. Page load speed, I mentioned that. Mobile responsiveness. So does your website look great on a desktop? Does it look great on a tablet? And does it look great on a mobile phone? Super important, especially since Google has moved to a mobile-first search algorithm because, again, Google cares about this stuff because people care about this stuff. If your website takes a long time to load, you jump, right? You don't wait for it to load. We've all been to a website where somebody loads up too big an image and it just takes forever to load. And you're like, crap, like this stinks. And so you move on to the next one. Mobile responsiveness is the same thing. If you go to the website on your mobile phone and you can't read it because it's tiny, or you have to zoom in, pinch and spread because you're like, hey, I can't see stuff. That's not a good experience. And Google cares about experience. Schema and structured data. This is really, really important now because not only is this super important to Google, this is super important to the large language model AIs. Schema is a back-end coding technology or tool or layer on your website. And what it does is it actually tells Google and the AI searches what content is on that page, who you are as an entity, as a business, as a person, what information is on that page. And really, really important because it's like a shorthand for these things. Otherwise, they have to scan every word, every image in order to understand them. And so this is very, very important. If your competitors have properly set up schema on your website and on every page and blog post and continuously work on that, and you haven't, they will win. XML sitemaps. Every website should have that. But super important, again, super important to Google, super important to the AI search. And canonicalization, this relates to how information is set up on your website so that the search engines understand this is my authoritative source on this topic. So it's, again, technical stuff. Now let's move to on-page relevancy. So we talked about the foundation. Now let's talk about relevancy. Topical relevance. Does your website offer enough signals, enough information on the topics that are most important to you as a business, but even more importantly, to the people searching for your product or service or business in order to be more authoritative than your competition? So what I mean by this is, say one of your core services in your practice is dental implants. Well, if you have a homepage and it mentions dental implants, in a paragraph, and then you have some practices just have a page of services, and so dental implants is not given any special treatment, and that's your topical relevance. You have a couple paragraphs about it. You don't go into great detail about it, versus a practice that has a very priority focus on dental implants, has a page dedicated to dental implants, another page dedicated to the cost of dental implants, another page dedicated to frequently asked questions about dental practice, dental implants, blog posts that are about dental implants, right? You can start to see like, wow, like This is the authoritative source I want to go to find out anything about dental implants. Now think that the algorithms, the search engines, that's what they're looking for. Keyword optimization, you need to maximize how your website is set up in order to show up, to send signals to Google and the AI searches about which keywords are most important to you and align with what people are searching for. Header and title tags, again, technical stuff, meta descriptions, internal link architecture, content depth and quality. Again, you need to have an authoritative source of information, and it can't be AI crap. You can't have just AI generated information that really isn't hyper-focused, strategic, and really aligned with what people are searching for, because we see a lot of that right now. It's easy to create content now. You don't need a writer. In fact, I've seen it where, businesses have just generated content. They don't even review it by a human. And you read the stuff and you're like, what? Like, this is awful. You see this too a lot with images. Sorry, I have two bullets there, but image creation. So again, because AIs can build images really quickly, really, really well to some degree, but people aren't reviewing them. People are moving so fast that they don't stop to review it and actually perceive, what does this image say about my dental practice? Oh, they have 3 hands, or oh, that's not even a dental treatment room. Image alt optimization. Do we have the text that describes in the back end what that image is about, right? We're trying to make it easy for the search engines. We're trying to make it easy for the AI searches to understand what images are on our page. Now, lastly, off-page authority. So off-page is really important. We control everything that we just talked about related to technical and on-page. You as a dental practice, you own your website, hopefully, and you should. And you control all this, or at least your webmaster or your agency who runs this for you does. But now off-page, there are things that we do as businesses and dental practices that support what we've done on our website and give us far larger influence. And this in particular is super important for AI search. So as people transition from traditional Google search to Google's updated search, which is AI search on Gemini, to the other AI searches like ChatGPT, this becomes really, really important, not just for traditional SEO, but for geo as well. So quality backlinks, what websites, authoritative websites, point to our website? Why have they pointed to us? You have to earn this. You have to have good articles that are authoritative to get people to link back to you. There are other strategies, but that's the long-term strategy that makes the most sense. Citation consistency, NAP, which actually stands for name, address, and phone number. It sounds super crazily simple, but you would not believe how many businesses and dental practices out there, especially if you've ever gone through an address change because you've moved your practice, you've grown, whatever it is, or it's just inconsistent. So your name, address, and phone number can be wrong on numerous directories and things like the Better Business Bureau and your Google Business Profile. And these are all off-site things, but they point back to your business. And so you absolutely need citation consistency. And citations are really, really important because the large language models, they've always been important for Google, but now they're even more important because the AI searches rely on these. You'll see these all the time. Like if you search for dental implants near me or dental implants in your town, and it pulls up the results. If you click on those, you can actually see what the citations are, the sources that it's using in order to guide its decision making. Your Google Business Profile has not diminished in value in any way. In fact, it's risen in value. And here's why. Google uses it. Google loves Google. So your Google Business Profile actually feeds the Google algorithm and Gemini with who your business is. Next to your website, it's the main signal. In fact, they work together in huge ways, your website and your Google Business Profile. But here's the thing too, other AI searches actually draw from your Google Business Profile. In fact, Bing now has synchronization between your Google Business Profile and Bing Maps. So, and the LLMs, certain LLMs, AI searches actually pull in your Google Business Profiles. So super important. Patient reviews and velocity. This is really important. People value reviews as much as they do a personal referral. That's hard to believe, but you need to have really good overall ratings for your dental practice on Google reviews, but you also need to have a velocity. Google values it, the LLMs value it, and people value it. They want to see that, hey, these guys haven't been sitting on their laurels for, 5 years, that they have earned these patient reviews over time, and that they have continued to adhere to a high standard of quality of service. PR and syndication, press releases, getting your name out there through different properties, super valuable. And social signals. So are you active on Instagram? Are you active on your Google business profile is actually a social signal on Facebook, on TikTok, on X. Doing that is really important. And so just to highlight the importance of this, all of these things help you show up for the people that are searching for your dental practice. And this requires systematic engineering, not just a basic website update. A lot of businesses are exploring creating websites with AI, vibe coding, and some of the other platforms. And what I'm actually seeing is that rankings are tanking when they do this because those are not actually setting up the websites properly. So that's just a cautionary tale. Like, you have to engineer this properly and don't jump the gun. Don't rely on AI to build a website for you because yes, it can feel like you're saving a lot of money, but you're not. You're actually killing your practice's opportunities, which is a high opportunity cost for you because you're going to stagnate your organic traffic. All right, moving on. This is called Your Money or Your Life. So the Your Money or Your Life standard is all about expertise, authority, and trust, right? Dentistry is categorized by Google as a your money or your life profession because it's about people, their health relies on your service. But the only way they can get your service, of course, is to pay, right? So doesn't that make sense? Now, here's something really, really important. Your business, your dental practice needs to be a verified needs to verify your medical expertise. It needs to have pristine patient reputation. It needs to have safe browsing experience. And when you have all of those and you start to implement the Google it's just showing EAT, but it's now EEAT algorithm, which is really all about expertise, authority, and trust and experience. That's where you start to win against your competition. Now, the blueprint for a high converting dental page, this is highly simplified, okay? But let's start at number one. You need to have H1 tags or H tags structured in a way that makes a lot of sense. It needs to make structural sense. One of the biggest things I see in website design is that website designers, even today, I see it now, will use H tags like a design preference. So if they want the font to be a certain size, they use an H tag to do that because it's actually really easy in all of the web development programs to do it that way. And that sits with how traditional, even print design used to work. In websites, though, what that does is it creates a lot of confusion because the H tags represent a hierarchy of information. So your H1 tag is the most important piece of information on your web page. It's telling Google and the algorithms that you are the top rated dentist in New York or whatever. And you do want this to be highly differentiated from your competition. You don't want it to be kind of this vanilla flavor that sounds like everybody else. You do want it to directly apply to what people are searching for. Number two, you need to have unique service content, zero duplicate copying throughout your website. And you want this to align with what people are looking for, what your core services are. And again, you're trying to educate people, but also the robots, the AI search in Google, into what your dental practice offers. And then you want to drill down into service-specific pages. And then there's ways to structure those pages as well. Number three, you want an embedded Google map for georeferencing. This is really, really important. You want to, again, create a tie, a signal between your website and your Google business profile. Patient trust badges. People care about your certifications, your expertise in a particular area, whether you've, consistently won awards, all of that kind of stuff. It reduces barriers, it builds trust. And then a persistent click to call, right? You want to have your phone number and your book an appointment visible at all times. And so we actually create every website with a persistent header. It doesn't mean it's always visible, but what it means is it shows up every time somebody moves their cursor. So they can read a page really easily, especially on mobile where your real estate is tighter, but your information is always readily available. All right, let's look at the local dominance formula, the 3-pack. For your Google business profile, if we look at how people find you on a Google search result page, it's at the core, right? Your website is part of that core as well, but your Google business profile is really at the core. Google values that information really well, and as you've heard already, the AI search platforms do as well. So to have local authority, you need to have on-page SEO on your website. Your website needs to send those signals of relevancy that point back to your Google business profile and vice versa. You need to have a citation network. You need to have consistent name, address, and phone number data across aggregators, Yext, directories, Yelp, you name it. You need to be everywhere, right? Because you can't control where Google and where the AI search platforms actually look for the directory citations. So you need to propagate that everywhere. And then review velocity. You need to have a steady, systemized way of asking satisfied, happy patients to leave you Google reviews. Very, very important. All right, let's look at the patient acquisition flywheel. So in phase 1, you want to have an optimized foundation. You want to claim your Google business profile. You want to dominate maps. That's one of the main areas. You want to have unique service pages. You want to optimize your website to the max from a technical standpoint and an SEO standpoint. Number 2, you want to get into creating ongoing content of value that, again, sends the right signals to Google, sends the right signals to the AI search platforms. You want to publish fresh dental insights. You want to syndicate that content, and it sends a powerful signal to these different search engines, but it also gives you content to share through newsletters, through social channels, through your Google business profile, etc., etc. And phase 3, you want to leverage your signals. You want to maximize, boost those signals. You want to really amplify things. You want to generate more links with authoritative websites. You want them to point back to you. You want to have your fresh map embeds. You want to have the compounding effect of the EEAT formula on your website and throughout these platforms. So the mechanism is really all about creating better signals to lead to higher rankings, driving more patients, generating more reviews, and feeding those better signals. It's a cycle that if you get it going properly, if you implement a systematic approach to this, you will win this game. All right, the ultimate dental SEO checklist. On-page basics. You need those unique pages built for services and cities. You need fully optimized H tags, titles, URLs, schema, all of the things we've already talked about. Google Business Profile and Local Dominance. You need to claim and actively optimize your map listings. You need to push to your data, your information to all of the data aggregators and directories. You need to have active system running for continuous review generation. You can do this through your dental practice management software, but then you should also augment it with a marketing automation system outside of that can be synchronized with your PMS system. Ongoing engine, you want to syndicate blog content. You want to be creating content of value. You want to create content that answers frequently asked questions that people should be asking about dental practices as well as dental treatments. You want multiple high authority do follow links built, and you want fresh internal mapping and dynamic content updates. None of this is build it and forget it. It is all about continuously building out your marketing engine. So, some key takeaways. What did you notice about the modern search landscape? Number 1, SEO is a clinical data-driven system. It is not guesswork. It is not random acts of marketing. It is not, I feel like doing this today, so I'm going to do it. It is strategically mapping out, here's where we are today, here's where we want to go, this is how we're going to get there, and we're going to keep improving upon that. And number two, the practice that controls the top of the 5 spots controls the market. And this is absolutely true in Google. It's growing in value as well on AI search platforms because they only give the top recommendations, and you don't actually see even, it's not like on Google where you can scroll down to page 2 and page 3 and page 4. They only give you so many options. So you have to be there or you're going to be invisible. So stop losing patience to the practice down the street. Dental Marketing Heroes is here to help you. We love helping dental practices like yours. We absolutely love helping good practices build great marketing to attract great patients so you can continuously grow your practice and love what you do. So let's build that growth engine. Book your strategy call today. Scan that QR code or go to dentalmarketingheroes.com and book an appointment. Check out our content. We are here to help. We are here to ask any questions you have about dental marketing. Keep calm and market on. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye for now.